Okay, welcome to the project for this week. It's going to be to actually create a patch that might be usable in a song. We're doing something using an envelope, and we're going to talk a little bit about the envelope. It's going to be a clap or maybe a kind of a fake hi-hat sound, something along those lines. So we want to have a lot of high-frequency content for it, and then we want to have a very short envelope, as we're seeing. And the value of some of the envelope parameters can vary depending on how useful it would be in the sound, in whatever composition you're putting it in. So what I've done is I've just went to preset number 65. This is pretty shaky, but I'm just going to use my stand and move it over just so you can see. Just set it to preset 65, which is an initialized preset. Just like that. Very simple sound. So what I want to do is I want to craft something that sounds, like I said, more like a hi-hat or a clap sound. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is maybe dial in the right oscillator like we talked about last week. So what I'm going to do is, there's a couple of different ways to do this, but I'm actually going to move it over till it gets to the noise oscillator, just because I want a lot of high frequency content. But then I hear that there might be some things happening here, and so there's some like note stuff happening. See, if I turn this, the tone, it actually gets a tone in there, so I want to take that out. And same thing happens with, see, the noise. I want that noise up, and I want the balance, that. Maybe I want the noise down a little bit too, that middle parameter, the rate, I mean. No. I need that rate up. The tune, I might add a little bit, rate up, and the balance, I do want that low. There we go. See, a clap sound wouldn't be this long, so that's when I turn to the envelope section, and I gotta modify it. Now, if this amp mod is off, it is completely dependent on when I press down, I hear sound. When I release, I don't hear sound. So that's not good. I want that to be independent, so I need to turn that amp mod on. Then here's the attack and decay knobs. Now the first thing I don't want is any sustain. So going past those two knobs, and already I have something that kind of sounds a little bit more like a clap sound. And I could dial that in a little bit better. Give it a tiny bit of attack. And then I could have something that has a little bit of decay time, or I could have something that has less. And again, it would depend on what I'm putting in the track. And you'll notice, because it's noise, it doesn't really matter where I press the keyboard, it's the same sound. And that's good. So there we go. Kind of like that. So that's how I dial in an envelope for a sound. Now, Arturia in this Microfreak has a second envelope called the cycling envelope. That's these kind of four knobs up here. And I could do some interesting things, but I have to assign it somewhere. And we're going to talk more about that later. But I can assign the cycling envelope up here to a number of different things. And so I might try to assign it to the cutoff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press in, there we go. And it should be blinking to select. Then I press it again, and then I can control how much. So if I raise it up, what it's going to do is it's going to apply this looping envelope to the cutoff. And the cutoff, here, I got to do this with two hands. I kind of want that to do that automatically. And I could kind of make it sound like a laser if I wanted to turn the resonance all the way up. We will talk about filters next week. But if I wanted to get something happening on this, I could then and you'll notice it's not really cycling in a loop. It's just making it that cutoff change once. Well, that's exactly because I have no sustain. If I turned up the sustain, we don't want that. That could be another sound I want, not really clap sound, but that's how I can get it to loop the envelope. So that would be an envelope that is kind of continually changing. In this case, it's the filter, which we haven't really talked about yet, but it's changing something else kind of over time. It's looping that sound. I can make it like this. Make it really fast. So that's it. If I decide I don't want that, again, I need to turn the sustain back down. Oh wow, it's so fast I could even hear a little bit now. But if I don't want it, I could just click on this, and again, oh, I got to get to that spot. You can see as you move it, it's just going to go blink in the different spots. And right now I'm selecting the top row, which is the cycling envelope, which I just was talking about, is assigned to the top, which is the cutoff, which is a filter. We'll talk about that next week. But if I want that one, oh, why did it jump? Okay, it's blinking on that one. I click on it, then oh, because I already clicked on it. Then I can turn it off, and I just need to set it to 0. There. And then I press it again, and you can see there's no more light there. And it just goes through them all, and it'll eventually just turn off if I start playing. Okay, so yeah, one thing I got to do is set the cutoff back, because for a clap or a hi-hat or something sound, I really want something that's pretty bright, and not something that's going to be changed to be bright. And there we go. That's it. So I want you to kind of make the sound, make a quick video showing that you made it roughly like this, but experiment. You can make it a little bit different. Use a different oscillator. There's a couple different places where there's some noise in the oscillators. Try to find one that's interesting but sounds kind of like a clap or a hi-hat. And then write up the process of how you did it and what you chose and why you chose what you did. So that's it. That's the assignment this week. Hope you have fun doing it, and I hope you explore a lot. Like get to use all of these things and try a few different sounds, a few different envelopes, and try to see what you can make.